Now we gotta take a little turn, and we can't avoid the unavoidable.
The elephant.
Yeah, the elephant that's in the room. We try to give you a little softness, whatever, but we had to get to the core.
Yeah.
The 6-part documentary had premiered.
Marie wasn't in.
Yeah, it was. She wasn't in. The 6-part documentary that had aired over break was the Surviving R.Kelly doc that was on Lifetime.
It was 6 parts, so I missed more than I thought.
It was 6 parts. It was 6 parts.
I seen 1, 3, and 4, so I haven't seen 2, 5, and 6 then.
So I watched.
Or maybe I seen 3, 4, and 5, and I haven't seen 2 and 6.
So I watched all of them. And first of all, the timing of it being shown was perfect because it came out during the break, and there's nothing that has been on TV. Everybody had already watched Bird Box. Everybody had already watched Bander, whatever the Black Mirror movie was. I can't remember.
The story behind it coming out like it did, they said, because it was supposed to come out like one every week over like a couple months span.
Oh, really?
But supposedly R. Kelly had already got wind of it, and he was trying to get it canceled and get a
I didn't know that.
And he was trying to get a cease and desist on it.
Really?
So, with that being said, they just rolled it all out.
Oh.
In 1 week, and that's why they put it all out so fast, because they were going to do it weekly. And that was the original plan, because R. Kelly was pushing to get it all canceled. They just threw it all out there for everybody.
I'm gonna be honest with you, bro. So I watched the entire thing in the row that it was coming. I would have probably preferred for it to be weekly. It was intense to watch it all together the way I watched it. That was intense.
Bang, bang, bang,
yeah,
bang.
because it was like you watch one, and then you're going back to social media, you're seeing what people are watching, and I was supposed to be disconnected, but I wasn't disconnected because then I'm seeing what people are saying, then you're going back and forth, and it was like, man, for a good 72 and a half hours of my life was so much R. Kellyism and so much that it was hard to kind of. So we're gonna try to pick this apart.
Well, before we
as
get into
much
it,
as we
what do you
can.
think about when people say R. Kelly being a pedophile was public knowledge 30 years ago? TV just told you to hate him. And saying that we're mentally enslaved, because now it's a big outrage, but we all knew this for the past 20, 30 years, since the 90s. Since it was the writing was on the wall when he married Aaliyah and she was 15. So I mean, if we've known this since then, and there have been numerous accounts of him doing other things that have seen the light, maybe have not been like front page news because they were quote unquote minority girls. So
what's your question?
Us just being mentally enslaved. What do you think of? What do you have to say to that?
I had an issue with that about people saying mentally enslaved. And I'm gonna try to answer your question as accurate as possible to what you're saying. So first of all, I had an issue with the whole, to break it down, I had an issue with the whole why now thing. Mm-hmm. People like, why now? We've been knew this about R. Kelly. Okay, so the doc itself doesn't just tell you news that you don't know. It also tells you like the how and the why, because we might have knew, but we didn't. There was a lot of mystique when it came to the Aaliyah situation. We knew it, but a lot of people didn't know the details of how that went down. For example, here's a detail that happened. There was one gentleman inside R. Kelly's camp who actually forged Aaliyah's signature and put down that she was 18. So if you're asking yourself, how are they legally able to get away with that? Because somebody lied, right? Mm-hmm. And an adult had lied on the minor, right? And also, it also breaks down the psychology, because it's real.
He's been issued an arrest warrant too.
Okay, we'll touch on that. It also showcases you the psychology, because a lot of times in life, we're very headline. We don't read articles. We don't go into details. We see headlines. So when we see things like R. Kelly had this underage girl, or R. Kelly had a sex cult and all of that, the first thing we go on and we're attacking the headline, and we're just like, there's no way R. Kelly can have me, as if you're a woman, or you're like, there's no way R. Kelly can have my daughter, blah, 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 blah. So this doc
Meanwhile, he had somebody's daughter in Baltimore. But
right.
Okay.
This doc breaks down the psychology and the details exactly what happened. And we've never really heard from the victims themselves. We never really actually had conversations with the victims. We never really, because R. Kelly, Aaliyah, rest in peace to her, she's never said a word of any of this. When her and R. Kelly split, and they both have never spoken of each other.
Timbaland and Missy,
and that was it. Like, she's never spoken on that. You understand? So we never heard Aaliyah's side. We never heard any other victim side.
If she was alive and was a part of that documentary,
man, we don't even want to touch on that. So as far as it being a mental enslaved, I think people need to check themselves, and they need to recognize that when you are stating there's a mental slave and you are advocating that, then you are a mental patriarchy. you are mentally enslaved in patriarchy, and you are mentally enslaved inside sexism because you are adding to the issue that black women have to literally scream to the top of their lungs to be recognized. If you sit there and you tell me that this street is in Baltimore, like this main street, and you're saying to me, give me a main street in Baltimore everybody know about.
Martin Luther King Boulevard.
Say that again?
MLK.
MLK Boulevard. And you've been telling me MLK Boulevard is right here. MLK Boulevard, it goes down to MLK Boulevard, right? Then on Tuesday, I show up at MLK Boulevard, and I'm like, man, it goes down. It went down today at MLK Boulevard. Does that mean that it went down just that Tuesday when I showed up, or has it always been going down?
It's always been going down.
It's always been going down, right? But it doesn't mean that it's only been going down because I'm paying attention to it. We just, as a society, we wasn't paying attention to it. We wasn't caring what people had to say. I'm one of those individuals as a kid. I'm even from Detroit. My sister went to school with Aaliyah. She went to school with her, Detroit School of Performing Arts. Aaliyah, I'm going to give you Aaliyah was a part of the first class of that school. That school was new. My sister went there, my god sister went there 1 year afterwards. So we all were hearing stories of R.Kelly literally coming up to the school. All right, coming up to the school, waiting on Aaliyah to come in and all that other stuff, and going up there and picking her up. People who knew her, right? Fast forward, I'm at Howard. Everybody who knew somebody from Chicago heard that same story, whether you went to Howard or you went to another school with someone from Chicago who told that same story about R. Kelly hanging out at the high school. Everybody was like, yo, he was hanging out at the high school, and he'll get his guys to go get a girl, boom, boom, boom. This was like a common thing. Yet, me, myself personally, I was still playing this music. I was still rocking with it. And it took for me the sex tape when it was going around and it went, we wasn't calling it viral back then, but when it was everybody's email and things of that nature and everybody's laptop when I was in my
on laptop. That was on VHS.
VHSs and stuff like that in your dorm, that's when for me it became a no. But I will go on record and say it honestly shouldn't took for me or for it to get to that level of that. So to answer, I hope I answered your question. As far as the mental, are we mentally enslaved in that? I would tell anybody to check themselves on that.
Now I'll quote Tank. He has something to say on that as well. He said before he claims himself mentally enslaved, maybe it's the big money record companies that were paying so much money and pushing so much and smothering all the information that aren't protecting him now, and the fact that we knew about it was rumors, but now we have the confirmation. So, I mean, Tank had a lot of words to say about it. Why he had basically similar to what you were saying, but he had a lot to say about before he claims himself mentally enslaved. He'll blame the record company and all his enablers that went through, because in order for him to be not in jail and go so far and do what he was doing, he had to have a lot of help, and he had a fortress built around him to keep him able to do it. And because he was making so many people so much money, they did it.
One thing I think people fail to realize in all the discussions and going back and forth is the money. People are failing to really mention the money. R. Kelly was making a lot of people a lot of money.
He was the biggest cash cow in the business.
And when you're making someone...
From writing, producing, and then performing his own records.
When you're making people a lot of money, okay, you are a person of value, okay? And when you become a person of value... you are not easily to be replaced. People do not like to have their money messed up, and people will do a lot to cover up your demons when you are making them a lot of cash cow. And Kells is making a lot of people money. He got a well-oiled machine around him. But here's the sad part about it. It also goes to show you that as a society, if you give someone that much freedom and that much privilege, how they can operate. Because he didn't operate like that off the jump. He wasn't R. Kelly like that, from the jump making that much money or who he is now. So it also speaks to culturally what everybody was accepting around as like, oh, when you think about age ain't nothing but a number. That song is about a young girl coming on to an older man. Now, when I was younger, I ain't going to say when I was younger, even this past summer, that song means something to me because that's the first video Aaliyah filmed in Detroit. At Belle Isle Park. And so for us, it was all like, yo, she's rapping home. And whenever I heard that song, even when I hear that song now, I feel sentimental but I'm thinking about the whole spectrum of where I'm from versus the song itself is about you being a young girl propositioning yourself for this older man because he was trying to make it seem as if
she was coming on to him.
She's coming on to him. And it plays into that stereotype of young black girls being over-sexualized. and being the ones that's coming on to the man and act like the man is the victim and he just can't help himself.
She had on baggy clothes in the whole video. She never had sexual appeal. I mean, she looked good. We all knew she was beautiful, but she was never put in that light. There.
She was.
Because she was so young.
Yeah, exactly. And so I don't know if you saw.
Like said Foxy Brown.
Well, I was gonna get on that, but did you catch the part real quick where his brother was talking about preference? They were talking to two of his brothers. And one brother that was in jail.
Maybe that, I seen different. They brought him in a lot throughout the whole thing.
So one brother that was in jail was like, and I'm not laughing because it's funny. I'm laughing because it's like the tip of my emotions. He was like, I don't see the issue. I mean, I came up, I like older men. I mean, I like older women. He's like, I like older women. My brother like younger women. What's the problem? It's just a preference. It's a preference. What's the big deal? Like, these dudes are saying this stuff in our faces, yo. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What part stood out to you? Because you didn't see all
with younger
of it.
women, but you need to get them at least till they're mature enough, at least like 21, 22. I mean, so if you like young, I mean, get a senior in college or something. I mean, it don't got to be like a senior in high school. I mean, at least let them be of age so they can make mature decisions on what they want to do with themselves and how they handle themselves. And they actually kind of know, not to say college students know who they are, but they got more of a grip on it than a senior in college has a lot more of a grip on who they are than a senior in high school. I'll tell you that right now.
I mean, absolutely. And how about the fact that you have a particular type that you keep going for? You keep going for these particular type of girls that
you're not as impressionable at 21, 22 as you are at 16, 17.
And
that's just a fact.
And all of them, one thing they were speaking about was the amount of control that he was putting in. Like, he had a thing about control where a girl, he'll make you go pee, like you mentioned earlier, like make you go pee and make you go do this.
Where he sent where 50 Cent Tierra Maria go.
But that was because that's what Kels was doing in the doc. According to the victims,
they didn't apply. They wouldn't eat for a couple days and stuff like that. All types of crazy stuff. They were on different sides of the house, and they would probably text each other to meet me at this house. I'm gonna ask, can I use the bathroom, and you meet me here.
Right. Did you think there's any truth to the fact that there's being reported that he's having panic attacks?
I bet he is. You know, them boys on him. And you see the memes with the Bill Cosby calling him from jail. Like,
yo.
It's like,
the internet is undefeated again, yo.
Bill Cosby like, yo, Kels, hey, they tell you buzzing around here about you. And Kels is like, go on with that bullshit, Bill.
Right.
Like, no,
yo.
really. They waiting for you, bro.
Yo. What do you think to people that were defending R. Kelly? Like, what do you, like, you know, the people that were like, you know, y'all trying to, what do you think to that whole, what you asked me about mental enslavement and they trying to bring a black man down and a why now and why aren't you, you know, like Cameron was putting up photos of Hugh Hefner and, you know, and everybody reaching for these other white individuals who have done that, like the Steven Tylers and them of the world and, you know, who have been with young women. What do you think there's some truth to that, or they are coming down targeting him because he's a black person?
I mean, they are. But I think he's a easier target because he's a black. But I say bring them all to the table. Bring Hugh Hefner to the table. Bring his skeletons to the closet. Those playgirls that he had at 15 and 16 that was in his back room to get that front spreadsheet. I mean, bring them to the table. Bring the king, or the so-called king.
Elvis. You speaking about Elvis because Elvis, when he met his wife, she was 14. He groomed her for like a couple years before he actually married her.
16.
Yeah.
Bring them all to the table. Bring them all to the table. They want to talk about Mike. They want to talk about Bill. They want to talk about R. Kelly. That's wrong. They're wrong. But let's have everybody be wrong.
But I think people are missing that they are bringing in other people, and again, when you're not looking towards the light of something because you're not paying attention.
It ain't no 6-part document about Elvis. It ain't no 6-part document about.
I seen docs about Elvis.
What's the guy in the movie? The movie guy. The guy they call God in the movie industry. The Me Too guy.
Harvey Weinstein.
Harvey Weinstein.
But he's in court now, dealing with his issues.
Okay, but I'll give Harvey this. He was with women. He was with grown women. So
yeah, but he was raping women and things of that nature, and it took a tweet to go viral for the attention to go towards Harvey. I mean, if you rape one person, you rape too many.
Correct.
And if you did it years ago versus you did it yesterday, it's still a crime. My thing is that there is light. I do think there is light being brought. I think the reason why people feel like there's more being brought on black is because we're black and we're going to see the black people that we feel like is coming down on them. But there have been mad white people ever since the Me Too movement has rise up in time. There's been mad white people who've been fired. I mean, you think about the guy from who was the director of the Guardians of the Galaxy movie. I mean, they brought out some old tweets of his, and he's done. Like, you know what I'm saying?
What I'm saying, I'm not against people who are sticking up for his music, but I don't think you can protect R. Kelly personally, though. As a person, no, you got.
I think you can make an exception when it comes to Kelly and his music. I don't think you can make that exception because his music is so tied into sexuality. And you now, when you hear some of the background stories of some of them songs, like I don't know if you caught that one part of the doc, because I know you said you didn't catch them all, but that one woman said that he wrote "You Are Not Alone" because the 14-year-old girl had lost her baby that was pregnant by him, and that's what he wrote "You Are Not Alone" for Michael Jackson. You know, or that one girl said he wrote "Feeling on Your Booty" because of her, and like some of the history of his songs were to these young girls. Like now I'm hearing the song "Seems Like You're Ready" and I'm thinking about it like,
yeah, but you can't erase when you first heard a song and where you're at in that time and period, because a lot of times we connect music with a place not in R. Kelly's life, but a place we were in our life. Like when I first heard that song and what this song did to me and what clubs I went to back then and what girls I used to mess with back then and what car I was driving.
I just told you what age ain't number the number did for me.
Exactly.
It made me think about back home.
So
yeah.
you can't erase those things. So you can defend him as, all right, he's a musical genius, his music is great. That's correct. Yes. Do I still think he should be held accountable for everything he does? Absolutely. Put him in jail. Do what you got to do. Hang him. But I mean, the music that's already been out, that we've already danced to, we've already stepped to, and we attach certain memories to it, you can't cheat yourself.
So do you think
now you're punishing yourself?
So do you think that, well, I mean, it might be some truth to that, and the fact that when you're playing his music and you're playing, now that we actually have a little bit more knowledge of things, right? Yeah. And when you play something off streams.
You don't have to worry about the new music. I mean,
but I'm saying, but even if you play the old music and you play streams, all that goes to him, and in a way that's still supporting him in that sense. So when you think about
you're supporting his talent.
But supporting his talent is supporting him. Those funds that he is getting from his talent, as we see, he's paying people to do his evils.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's hard for me, for R. Kelly himself. Now, mind you, my brother, I thought I was someone who was a hypocrite if I say I'm not going to listen to R. Kelly.
R. Kelly will never be broke.
No, but I'm saying
there's nothing we can do. We can boycott R. Kelly you want. He doesn't have to make another dollar from this day forward, and he is set for life. I will tell you that right now.
Right, but my thing is that I felt I once upon a time thought that I was a hypocrite if I didn't listen to R. Kelly, because I had to ask myself, then what did I say about some of these rappers who've been dogging women, shooting up baby mamas in their songs? I'm talking about for myself. I felt like that. But I feel like R. Kelly might be that one person, man, who's pushed me to that threshold of being like, because listen, when you start telling me I shouldn't listen to Thriller, I get chills, okay? Because I still listen to Thriller every once in a while. But I do think we got to start asking
I'm one of the
ourselves,
ones on the fences that I don't think Mike did it. But anyway.
No, I'm not even saying that. That's what I'm done. I'm not even trying to go there, because I still think that Mike's situation might be different from R. Kelly. I think R. Kelly, time and time again, has been in our face talking about he's the Pied Piper and all this other stuff. Dude, the dude hit on a girl on his way to the court. While you're being accused of having sex with a minor, you're hitting on minors and winking at them on your way to the court. That's like a drug dealer going to court, smoking weed on his way to the court. Like, I don't know no dope boy.
And he left with her, too. He
left with her. Come on, bro. And there are pictures of him outside the courtroom with her, bro. Like, come on, man. Like, Kels has done stuff in our face, I think, time and time again that has shown us, like, hey, man, I'm out here.
Say what money does.
Right. I'm out here.
Money and music does.
I think he might be that person. I'm saying if you can't think about nobody else in your argument about that, I think he might be that person where we can't separate. He literally might be that person.
He just said back in May on the documentary, they did put that on there, back in May, he was like, they should have did this 30 years ago. I'm untouchable now. They can't do nothing about it. He just said, he just basically told everybody, you're too late.
Bruh.
You're too late. And he was just in the club in Chicago, sold it out.
For his birthday.
Yeah. After all 6 of them have already been out and hit the fan.
Yeah.
This is after all of it. A couple days after, so everybody's going crazy with social media, so you would assume a guy like that would go into hiding. No, he throws a big birthday bash in the middle of Chicago.
But I don't think that's
V75. And not only all women are there, they're screaming, take me hostage.
But bro,
that screaming "Take Me High," they want to be the next one.
But see, I think that was overhyped because I don't think that's hard to do. I think you can still gather people around and have them in your room because he's R. Kelly. Like you said, at the end of the day, somebody gonna still come. You mentioned something earlier that I'm going to transition into about the whole Foxy Brown situation. Now, just earlier, and we're gonna touch on that. But Dame Dash had came out with his interview that he did when he was talking about how Jay-Z working with R. Kelly on both Best of Both Worlds is where he knew Rockefeller was at his end, because a lot of us, if you didn't know and you might have forgotten, Dame Dash was with Aaliyah when she passed away, and because of his relationship with Aaliyah and he loved her, he did not want to work with R. Kelly at all, and he said that the Best of Both Worlds, both albums, are the one time where his name is not on there, not on that. But he was dancing in the video on Fiesta. He said, Dame is saying, "Yo, I was in the video, but I still didn't want no pictures with dude. I wasn't in that. I wasn't in none of that." You know what I mean? That's what he's saying. He's like, I was over here. And he said Aaliyah always told him to leave that situation alone. And with that being said, do we go back and we look at all the people that work with Jay, even though they knew what they did? Because, look, you would think that the Aaliyah situation was enough, right? But then you had the first Best of Both Worlds when Jay and R. Kelly got together, and the tape dropped when they dropped the album, so that was why they couldn't finish that. Then they came back and tried to do another Best of Both Worlds 2 years later. And then you got
Unfinished Business was the name of the song.
Unfinished Business
was the name of it.
But they also had a song
called Not Guilty.
Not Guilty, when you rewind, on Hove's album, right? That was on a Rockefeller imprint. Do we now look at these?
Hove, that was at the Hove had the stabbing incident when he stabbed Un. And Kelly, I didn't even when that song came out, I just took it as Hove talking about his thing, and he just happened to have.
I did too. I didn't even think about Kelly. Unfortunately, I didn't think about Kelly.
I didn't think about Kelly's situation. I actually just thought about Hove because he was fresh off the stabbing On, and then he had all the lawsuits and stuff that he was fighting.
But Kels was being accused of stuff even then,
me, but I'm not guilty.
And saying I'm not guilty, right? Because at that time he was trying to be charged. So when you think about everybody that has worked with him later on, like you think about the Tanks, Lady Gaga had recently put out a statement saying she's going to remove the song that she did with Kel from her streaming service. Amarion had put up that after this tour, with the Millennial Tour with him and B2K, he's no longer going to perform the songs that R. Kelly had wrote for him and things of that nature. What do we do when we think about the people that have worked with him, knowing his knowledge?
There probably won't be another tour.
No.
You probably never had the opportunity to sing those songs unless you go to Vegas. But anyway, where you were going with that, funny question.
I'm saying let's answer that
Nick Cannon, I know.
Okay.
Nick Cannon did an interview with Dame Dash. Would you think Hove would grant an interview and actually be open enough to answer the questions about that and how he felt and why he did that, being so close to Dame and being so close to Aaliyah? Because as soon as Aaliyah passed, he did the Missing You record.
Yep.
And so he definitely had a relationship with Aaliyah.
Well, that's what Dame said. Dame said she was not only was she his girl, but she was Ho's friend.
Yeah, so how did he feel and what made him do that? And being in his friendship with Aaliyah. And I remember vividly, because it happened in Baltimore, the Unfinished Business tour.
Okay. What happened in Baltimore?
It happened in Baltimore. They were supposed to do they were on that Unfinished Business tour, the second wave of them, and they came to Baltimore. And that was when the infamous Tata slapped R. Kelly.
That was in Baltimore?
Yes.
I didn't know that. Okay,
that
go
happened
ahead.
in Baltimore. That happened in Baltimore. The infamous Tata slapped R. Kelly. They got the beefing. I wonder what happened on there. I mean, if Hov would be interested in who would he let, because he ain't just going to answer the question from anybody. So, and anybody just ain't going to get an interview. But so who gets to answer that question? And is Hov's going to honestly answer them?
Well, not to get too far off, but who's brave enough to even ask Hov that to his face? A lot of people, if they're going to sit down with Hov, they're not going to ask that. If you do get the opportunity to sit down with Hov is probably going to tell people don't ask him no questions about that, or someone's going to be too shook because he's Hov to really ask. I mean, we would ask him that.
Charlamagne, Angie.
No. Scratch all that. Scratch all that. We would, but
I'm saying, what's the opportunity of us, him actually coming to us?
Exactly.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying the people that can actually have that opportunity.
Yeah, and I think that's some accountability in that too.
Elliot, Sway,
but no,
Angie,
who's really going to ask Hov that question? Definitely with the knowledge. And I think a lot of stars, I think a lot of celebs.
I would ask.
Yeah, we would. We ain't got nothing to lose. But there are a lot of people who's not going to be. They didn't want to be on that dock, for example, because they had something to lose. There are a lot of people who don't want to answer those questions because they got something to lose. And I think that also speaks to this era. So to the people who feel like, oh, well, you're just not bringing this stuff up, that's why. Social media has now brought a lot of things to light that people have been screaming for years. And now celebrities, quote unquote celebrities, got to be accountable for certain stuff, or you just not going to do interviews at all, to be honest with you, like at all. Because like you said, it raises the question that we didn't ask years ago, but now we can ask that. Now people feel like they got the range to ask that question. Like, okay, so why did you make an album with him knowing what you knowing?
Two.
You know, you made 2 albums knowing what you knowing. You know, why did such and such make records with him knowing what you know? And now to certain artists who were coming up in the game, like Nick Cannon, you're right. He made a valid point. I saw that interview when he was saying he was on Jive. So a lot of times when you came up through Jive, and R. Kelly was signed to Jive at the time, if he wrote a song for you,
he did.
That
he wrote
was
Gigolo.
That was your way of getting in. Like you had no choice in that. Or
and they was in the video.
There's
together
always
too.
a choice, but you had no industry choice.
Were in the video together,
right? But
Gigolo,
exactly, it was a horrible song. But I think R. Kelly situation speaks to a larger issue, in that. And to these artists who did work with him, knowing what they know, and radio personalities that you and I know that have worked with him. Like I remember there was a radio mentor of mine who literally argued with me in the gym because I had brought up about the R. Kelly situation. This was like, man, 9, 10 years ago. You know, I'm a little fish in the game. And I'm talking about like working with R. Kelly. Me and him talking about somebody else. I'm like, yo, but we going back and forth, and I finally said, yo, would you leave R. Kelly with your kid? He was beating around the bush like, I wouldn't leave nobody with my kid, this and this. And he started hitting me with the, I'm not God, so I can't judge, and Jesus forgave, so you should forgive. He started hitting me with all of that. And he was going hard defending R. Kelly. He didn't even know the dude. Mm-hmm. He didn't even know dude. He just knew people that knew him. And that's how hard he was going. And then he buckled down getting at me on some like, well, you just don't know. You young. You young in this game, and when you get more into this radio or you more in the media, you're going to have a relationship. Everybody not perfect. You know, if you're going to scratch out R. Kelly, you're going to have to scratch out everybody you listen to, and this, and this, and this, and this. But there was an outright defense for this dude, yo, and there was no reason for it. There were people who even wasn't making money off R. Kelly that was defending this dude so hard.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
he was untouchable.
Like what was that? You know? But when you think about to what Dame was saying about what you said earlier about Fox, I got a little sample of the Nick Cannon and the Dame interview, like right here.
What age was Foxy Brown signed? I wasn't paying attention to Foxy Brown. But I didn't sign Foxy Brown. I know you put me in. I'm just asking a question. Because I'm on the block. I'm responsible for everybody. You the boss. Yo, don't beat around the bush. Say what you want to say. What do you mean by that question? I was just asking. What do you insinuate? I'm not insinuating. I just asked the question. I thought Foxy was like 16. That's all I'm saying. It sounds like all I'm saying is in this industry when we live in these glass houses. It seems like you got a question for Jay. Y'all keep asking me questions y'all want to ask him because he ain't here. Ask him. I ain't got shit to do with that, and I don't even know nothing about that. You my man. I know not with me.
So real quick, I just want to ask on the side note, because I was having this argument with somebody in my chat room. They were, and this ain't me, and I ain't no coward, but I'm just stating, was that a bitch move for Dame to bring up Jay's name in that? Now I didn't see none of it. I thought it was crazy for Nick to kind of insinuate something, but was that kind of a side snitch move on Dame's part? Because I didn't look at it like that. But I was looking at people online, and a lot of people were like, man, he brought up Jay's name. That's like a side snitch move.
I mean, it is. I mean, it's saying I ain't had nothing to do with that, so you need to talk to the person that did. So he kind of, I mean, he's throwing them in there, but he's just also saying there's no way to answer that question without, because they were so entwined and they were so close partners, there's no way Dame to really talk about a business acquisition or move or anything that would not have, he would have to mention Jay.
That's how I looked at it. I'm like, he has to mention
Jay and Harv name, because those were the 3 heads. Jay, Harv, and
Biggs.
Jay Biggs and Dame.
Yeah.
Right there. I keep saying Harv. That's Bad Boy.
That's Bad Boy,
yeah,
right.
But Jay Biggs and Dame, they were the 3 heads. Like everything shaped and moved came through them 2. They had to all be in agreement on something before it went. I mean, I'm sure it's certain things that just somebody just went Maverick with. Jay may have went Maverick with this. Hove may have went. Dame may have went Maverick with this and just pulled the trigger. And Biggs, I'm sure, has did the same thing.
I mean, I had an issue with people online that on 1 week, and this is where people be talking about the fake outrage. In 1 week, you talking about Dame and you praising him because he's bringing up Jay-Z about not working with him with best of both worlds, right? And you're praising him when he say Jay's name then. Then you're mad at him for bringing up Jay's name when he said about the Foxy Brown situation.
There's so much business intertwined. He can't do an interview and tell
without
you history
without saying Jay's name.
Everything he did
right
from 1994 on had to do with Jay.
And in any form or fashion, you would look at more like that being a bitch move. Not saying I'm saying it, but that being a bitch move more like for Nick Cannon to ask that when you probably, if you felt that there was a relationship involved with him and Foxy, then that is a question you should ask Jay. That is not a question if you're going to ask like Dame in that sense or expect a Dame. You're going to get a Dame answer, and that's what you got. Because I never looked at it as Foxy Brown and Jay-Z being a couple. Like, I didn't look at it like that. Now, I ain't going to lie. When I was younger,
I thought Foxy Brown was a lot older.
I thought Foxy was definitely a lot older.
The way she was marketed and the way she was put out there. Or the way her rollout was.
I thought her and Lil' Kim was the same age.
Yeah, she was rolled out as a grown woman. Kim wasn't too much older than her. Kim was
was grown.
Kim was only like 18, 19.
Barely. 20. She was in her early 20s. Her and Big is like the same age, bro. Kim was a few years older than Foxy, but to your point, they were making them on the platform as if they were even.
Yeah, she was rolled out as a woman.
Yeah, and they wasn't even. Foxy was like 17 when Ain't No dropped. So if you're asking questions like that, I think that still speaks more to the industry and what we were allowing to do. What we were all, like you said, they were trying to market Aaliyah with her wearing the big clothes. You know, you really kind of didn't know her age in that sense, you know, when it came to that. So my final question to wrap up the R. Kelly situation, what do you see happening with this doc that had dropped? Do you see R. Kelly himself going to jail, or do you see other people who start going to come down the pipeline? Because one of the things that had popped out was someone had did their math and noticed that Diddy and his first baby mom's he was older, like she was 16. Mm-hmm. I think her name is Misha. I don't know her name. I don't want to get it crossed up. Right. And so now people are starting to do their age backgrounds. So what do you think the floodgates are going to be after this whole doc situation?
Second wave of Me Too movement. So they're going to come after everybody. And it's just, I don't think anybody's going to jail. I mean, you have to have you have to have a plaintiff in order to have a defendant.
What you mean? Like, break that down to me a little bit more.
You have to have an accuser for the accused.
Okay. So Kells ain't going to jail.
That's the reason he didn't go to jail in the first place.
Well, they definitely
the chick said it wasn't her.
Yeah, she said it wasn't her.
And the father said it wasn't her.
And the court.
And he's still on payroll for R. Kelly to this day.
And it had been 7 years, so they couldn't say the girl looked like her.
No, they wasn't. They did it strategically. They kept postponing it so they wouldn't be looking at a 14, 15-year-old girl. So now they're looking at a 20-year-old girl.
Who physically changed.
And is a beautiful young lady to this day. So, but yeah, as a jury, your eyesight, you don't see a 14-year-old anymore. You see a grown woman now. So the sympathy kind of wears a little bit to the eyes of the juror.
And she probably physically didn't look the same.
Yeah, and she physically didn't look the same. And she's saying it's not me.
Right.
And the family and the father saying it's not her. It's not her.
What do you say to that about the fathers who are now on camera with their mothers saying they can't find their daughter?
You're a whole bitch.
Now, why did you say that? Explain that to me.
Because as a father with 2 daughters, I don't care what no law say. I don't care what nothing. Like, whatever. I'm strapped up coming in your door, bro.
How?
Mm-hmm. I'm strapped up coming in your door. Physically.
But let's just keep this in mind, right? Let's keep this in perspective. And
keep it in mind. I'm going to jail.
So hear me out,
and I'm okay with that.
And I'm not disputing that. And I want you to, I'm trying to walk this slowly. So I'm not even trying to dispute how you might feel.
I'm going to whip my daughter's ass and your ass out the house.
Because I don't know. So one dude was like, yo.
Well, then again, he has a bunch of security guards. And I'm sure he has an arsenal too, but it's going down.
No.
I'm going down blazing.
Hear me out. Because there's some parts that you may not have saw. So one dude said that immediately when his daughter turned 18, everything got cut off. Like her and the family, he's like on her 18th birthday, they called to say happy birthday and everything got cut off. Now we can talk about what was wrong for y'all to connect her with R. Kelly to begin with, because he also said too, it's important to know that they said that the label provided them for her to have a legal guardian when she's around him who's communicating with him. And I think that might have went over people's heads. So if you got the label saying, yo, we're going to have this person be the legal guardian, which is something that is normal in the business. Like, for example, Diddy was Usher's legal guardian when Usher first came out because he was underage, right? So if the label is telling you, so you thinking as a parent this is okay, even though we all know his history, what it was then, but you thinking that's okay. And then the moment she turned 18, everybody legally that you had talked to is not in communication with you no more. They said immediately on her 18th birthday, the phone was cut off, everything was cut off. So I'm saying at that point, and then she's gone, where are you going to find her when you can't find her? You got George Zimmerman walking around, and everybody know he killed Trayvon Martin, and he's walking around with no security, and he's fine. How you gonna catch R. Kelly, who got these girls staying in these buildings that he's not necessarily staying in also too? He got his mans, got him up there. So by the time you find out that she's in building A, okay? And building A, and no, I'm being serious, building A got 100 floors, got over 100 floors, right? So you going in trying to find somebody who didn't change their name. They're not even staying at that hotel under their name, okay? You got R. Kelly security that's probably guarding the girl, but then you also got the hotel security itself. You go in there, who you shooting up, bro? And I'm not like disrespecting no father, because I know every father feel the same, because the mere thought of my niece getting caught up in that situation, everything I'm saying rational now is going out the window, right? So I'm understanding that when a loved one is missing, your rationale is out the window. But I'm just saying, to the people who were calling the fathers like soft or you ain't no real father, I'm saying it's not even a legal thing. How is you gonna find him when he moving like that? Because he's not walking hand in hand with these girls. He's keeping them in certain places. It's a strategic thing. It's an operation. So who are you going in and shooting? You don't know what the security guard look like. You don't know how nobody look like. Who are you going in and shooting and blasting? That's what I'm saying. So how is it, are we looking at the fathers when they put themselves or they made these mistakes? Why are we looking at them like all of a sudden it's a crime for them to still want their daughter back? I saw a lot of people online that just because these parents make a mistake, it was almost as if you think that they getting what they deserve. Even if you did make that mistake, which you did, you contributed to culturally what a lot of people were doing. You were ignoring situations that didn't affect you because you, maybe your bravado or your pride or you were looking at money, you didn't think that this situation could happen to you regardless of what it was. Because one group of parents, they said that we made sure she talked to us all the time and we were always present. But it only took one time, especially when you got like a teenage daughter who is naive. It only takes one time for somebody to slip the number. And they said when they slipped up that one time, it was downhill from there. So I'm saying in that situation, knowing all of that, how is it that we are still looking at these parents and we looking at them like, yo, there's no way that can happen. Everybody got this bravado saying it'd be me, I'll be in jail. Why are we still looking at these parents knowing that situation as if they can get caught up in that, as if they really have a choice in this matter? Like, how is it you going to find them? This was my question. Who you shooting up? So I'm saying to you, knowing that what probably you didn't know, because I know you didn't see the entire doc, do you feel any differently? You still saying there's still no excuse?
I mean, it's still no excuse. I mean, as a parent, your relentlessness should never stop. But
there's not stopping. They're not stopping. They're still trying to find their daughter. But I'm saying, who you gonna shoot up? What information are you getting?
Every enabler I see.
Okay.
Until I get to the head.
Okay. I think people like Master P were kind of like unfair when they were talking about like, I wouldn't be on TV. If that was my daughter, I'd be in jail and I wouldn't be on TV talking about it. And my thing is, how else are the parents supposed to communicate? The daughters have probably been brainwashed to think that the parents don't love them no more. So getting on TV and getting on a documentary is the best way for them to kind of try, hopefully, to communicate to their daughter. Hopefully their daughter will see this. And you, Master P, meaning your reach and a regular everyday man's reach is totally different. I'm pretty sure P can find his daughter.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But
he can find Kelly.
But again, right, P can find Kelly. But again, right?
Walk right past security. I'm coming right over here. No, we gonna talk. Come here.
But again, when you look at that and what it is, right? P can find Kelly, but Kelly is smart enough not to mess with the P's daughter. If Kelly came across the Master P daughter, he probably would tell her, get out.
Mm-hmm.
So again, we're talking about someone who strategically know who he is picking.
Yeah, he goes after weak fathers.
I don't know if I can call them weak, bro.
I mean, passive fathers?
I don't know if I can call them passive. I think they were dumb. I think they made a mistake because at the end of the day, this man got this reputation. I don't care how much my daughter want to be a singer. I'm not going nowhere near this man. So I do think they were dumb and they were money hungry in that. But I don't think it makes them soft because this situation happened because, again, you ain't Master P. You ain't got an army of No Limit soldiers you can go and search up in the house. You up in a 100-story building.
My daughter
Who you find?
I'm pulling a Matthew Knows. I'm in every recording session. I'm with her every time you with her.
That's real. That's real.
You ain't going nowhere.
I'm just tossing that out there.
You ain't going nowhere with my girls without me.
I'm just tossing out there because, like I said, George Zimmerman's still walking around.
I got time. Where we going? Oh, we going to get something to eat? All right, cool. We going.
I'm with you. Well, no, Matthew said they wasn't recording with him. Like, no. And the one song Destiny Child he wasn't in the studio. They just did the song, and it was on like a soundtrack or something like that. So Matthew said that wasn't going down at all. But that's a smart person.
That was a real dad.
That was a real dad. You think about you hear a lot of stuff about God bless the dead Joe Jackson with the Jackson family, but you don't hear nothing about nobody saying somebody touched them.
Nah.
Because Joe Jackson was in the room.
Yeah, Joe Jackson wasn't playing. Joe Jackson was a real ninja.
Yeah, he was a real ninja though.
so was Matthew.
Yeah.
So was Matthew. He ain't playing.
Yeah.
Nobody playing. I ain't playing these games with you.
And again, I'm not talking about, and I hope you know I'm not disrespecting you as a father by saying that. So I'm not talking about, we all know they definitely made a mistake as far as even introducing them to R.Kelly to begin with. I'm only talking about after that. I didn't really like people calling them soft or saying that feeling like the parents should be punished for not seeing their kid because they made a mistake. They did make a mistake. But at the end of the day, they're parents and they want to see their kids, man.
No, I believe they should see their kids, but I still think, come on now. Like,
I'm saying as of right now, I can't call a man soft, be saying because he should be but who are you where are you going? You literally don't know where they are. You find out where they are, you go up in there, it's like, okay, you got to search over 100. What, you just going to shoot up random people? I mean, maybe. It's for your kid.
Yeah.
You're not thinking rational. It just hit me just now. I'm thinking to myself like,
am I going to shoot around here? Yeah.
Yeah, I guess.
I'm going to shoot an enabler.
Yeah,
an enabler.
That's real. I don't even want to think on that level.
You're protecting the problem, so yes.
That's real.
You get one too.
Even people who don't even know. I mean, I think that's the thing people ain't thinking about. So, man, I don't know what can happen from this situation. I think this situation is going to open the door to a larger part of the conversation. Shout out to Dream Hampton. I grew up, Dream Hampton is a writer from Detroit, but she also grew up in New York. She used to write for The Source and all of that. And if you watch some behind the music on your favorite legendary rapper, she was there. She's someone who's been behind this Surviving R. Kelly doc. I never met Dream Hampton. I've always loved her work. Shout out to her for bringing this to the forefront. So big ups to her because I understand that this probably took a lot of time and energy and all of that. And to a lot of people who are criticizing other gentlemen for speaking up, the few gentlemen that did speak up because they couldn't get a lot of men to speak up. To any brother who feel like he can't speak because you had to be perfect, you don't have to be perfect. All right, we all contribute directly or indirectly in some form or fashion to this issue. You don't have to be perfect to speak out about what's wrong. And just because you were wrong before, it doesn't mean that you can't speak out what's wrong that's right there before you. And maybe if we would have spoke up years ago, there would be no need for a doc.